Yo, what up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Don't you miss a moment. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like this game he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour live here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sassuti, along with the broken one, Rob Povia.
Merry Festivus for the rest of us.
We definitely hope that everybody out there had a Merry Christmas, and upon us is New Year's Eve. And upon us as well is the NHL returning, particularly the Flyers returning, which we will be definitely diving into as they get ready to take on the Seattle Kraken for the first time in the the Climate Pledge Arena. Sorry. I had to think of a stupid name that was dumber than Climate Pledge, and I had to figure it out somewhere down the line. Anyway, so we welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour, and we are brought to you by, as always, a Body Check Wellness, created by Riley Cote. Body Check Wellness is a line of product that is using both hemp and THC-free products of edibles, gummies, ointments, things that help you, if you're dieting, help you if you need to get focused in on some type of project that you got going on. Like, for example, I got to get shit out of my room because I'm trying to get a computer desk in there. So, you know what? That's a perfect example of, hey, get your ass ready to go, get yourself geared up and focused, so you can get that stuff out of your room and you get that computer desk in. It's things like that. It helps really get you going and get you taking care of stuff in life. All right, and if you use that A2D code right down there, you get 25% off of your order. And, check them out, bodycheckwellness.com. Trust me, Rob's used them, and they've done nothing but benefits for him.
100%, Maddie.
And today's question on the poll is: the Flyers will see long-term issues caused by players following health and safety protocols. The reasoning that we are putting this out there that way is because that shall not be named, the good old COVID, showed up and decided to strike a nasty blow to the Flyers. Unfortunately, that put not just guys like Derek Brassard and Max Willman out, strong depth players, which I feel really bad for Max Willman. Poor guy gets 2 goals in a row in 2 straight games, and then it's like, hey, man, you got COVID. Time for you to sit your ass down and recover. Like, God damn it. Poor guy. But then on top of it as well, Kevin Hayes unfortunately turned up positive, as well as Carter Hart. So, key players being lost right now due to it, and that is why we are saying, will the Flyers have long-term issues because of this? Agree or disagree? Robbie, how do you feel on this?
Well, luckily we're getting some of these players back. Morgan Frost and Kevin Hayes were cleared today, so we should see them tomorrow night. Max Willem as well has been reinstated, so there'll be some reserves, but obviously there, you mentioned them, Maddie, there's some key guys out. Carter Hart being probably at the top of the list, Derek Brassard, Scott Lawton, Sean Couturier. Ryan Ellis was already out with that week-to-week injury, but still, this doesn't bode well for his chances of returning to the ice either. I'm going to disagree with the poll. I think this team has enough depth in terms of young players to recall, whether it be for their active roster or on the reinstated taxi squad. But I will disagree with a big but. I think they'll still be hard-pressed to get into a wild card position if these vets are out for too long, or if this is a repeated process for the rest of the season. They were already struggling, and that doesn't bode well for their playoff chances. I'm not really worried about it being that situation being out too long, because as we're seeing in the NFL, much like the CDC guidelines, now 5 days without symptoms, they can return to the ice. I think I heard both in the NFL and the NHL, most of these cases are, the new variant that is mad contagious, but low symptoms. So if you're showing mild to low symptoms, you can get back on the field. You can get back on the ice. So I don't think it's going to be a long-term issue, as you stated. They just need to follow the health and safety protocols, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough when that happens. I mean, in terms of long-term issues, I do agree with it in the sense of, like, if this does continue to happen, kind of basically what you were saying, if this does continue to have some issues here and we do get a couple more moments where breakouts continue to occur, then yeah, I could totally see this being a real big issue for the Flyers moving forward. But if this is just the one real nasty brief struggle with it, which hurts a bit of the team, but they don't have any more issues with it as the season goes along, then it would be a disagree. So, but it's something to keep an eye on as we go down the line for the season, because obviously injuries are one thing. COVID, unfortunately, decided to come back and make its presence felt for everybody. And, obviously we all could talk about the NFL, how many positives they have. My God, it was like 90% of every team's roster. It was pretty crazy during that whole period. But, but that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. But, yeah, so the Flyers, we'll see what they do and see how they handle as they go out to Seattle to get ready to restart their game and restart their season. My biggest concern is the sapping of momentum. That's what I'm worried about. Like, I'm worried that this kind of kills the momentum that the Flyers are building, because it's like they just gotten that big gut check win against the Ottawa Senators. They don't get that game against Washington. They don't get that game against Pittsburgh. Now they've been off for a while, and now you got to go out west to go play Seattle. Then you got to take on San Jose. Then you got to take on LA. So you got 3 tough matchups there. Sure, the Sharks, they've been doing this all year where they've been good and bad, hot and cold. And then on top of that, you've seen LA that went on a bit of a skid there after having a really strong start. And but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't find their game against you. Hell, the break might have been exactly what the doctor ordered for both of those teams. And Seattle, we'll see what Seattle does. Flyers handled them pretty decently in Philly. We'll see. Seattle's an interesting. They're still a wild card, really, because they're not. I would say they're settled in, but again, who knows what's going to happen in the second half?
Nah, sure, man. If you're a fan of the Pittsburgh Penguins or the Nashville Predators, this holiday break came at the worst time for him. I'm talking about 2 of the hottest teams in the league right now. So I'm not so much worried about our Flyers, who were up and down a little bit. They were starting to get it back together. Sure. So maybe that kills a little bit of that momentum. But like we saw 2 seasons ago now, where Flyers were the hottest team in the NHL, had that break, and then kind of came into the playoff bubble flat. Maybe we get a little reverse of the script, maybe a little bit, maybe make a push. It's going to take guys that are coming in, that are going to be on this taxi squad, like Jackson Cates to step up, Jerry Mayu, very much so, because this team is just depleted on center iceman right now. Cam York is on the taxi squad away from the Phantoms, so might see get his beak wet. And I left the best for last. We're going to see Felix Sandstrom here stepping in for Hart, serving probably as a primary backup for Martin Jones. But with 3 games in 4 days, more than likely you're going to see Sandstrom's NHL debut. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to see him get an opportunity to get a start, and see what he can do. We saw him in preseason, and he looked good in preseason, so it'd be nice to see him in a regular season game and get his first one under his belt.
100%.
And Frank, what's up, Frank? Saying Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gooch. It's like I haven't seen you in forever. I agree to the poll. It's gonna be a mess. And what's going on, Eileen? Saying good evening, gentlemen. Hope you are all doing well. Hope you are doing well, Eileen. Hope you had a good Christmas. Prism, let's go. What's up, Priz? It's good to see you. And there's Bry. What's going on, Bry? Yes, Bry unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. He was feeling a little bit under the weather, and work's been tough, so he's going to take it easy this week. So, hey, man, rest up, dude. We'll see you next week, brother.
He had to get together with the rest of the girls from Sex and the City tonight.
Ah, there you go.
Just play it, brother.
Yeah. There's saying, where the fuck is SJP? I showed up on time and he's AWOL. Speaking of that. Oh, Ritz saying, my dudes, what's good? What's up, Ritz? By the way, if you're a wrestling nut, check out In This Very Ring. That's where you can find good old Ritz. Him and Butters. They say, looking at a property tomorrow, hoping offer will be accepted for a move south. Prayers appreciated. Oh, well, definitely good luck with that, Eileen. Hopefully it does go through perfectly for you.
Yeah, get the fuck out of New Jersey. Stop paying high property tax.
yeah, that's a problem, all right. First saying, rest in power, John Madden. And Eileen does go on to say, disagree to the poll. They will be fine. Yeah. And then
I know I was seriously doubting him a few weeks ago, and I mean certainly after the coaching change we saw a turnaround in effort, especially on the leaders on this team, and I think it really goes to show that you needed a different voice in that locker room. You needed a guy that's going to coach players, not treat them like robots. So and it was funny too. AV on his way out throwing shade on some of the vets, being like it was mostly their fault for not stepping up and taking leadership. You're the damn head coach, man. You know what I mean? It starts with you. You know what I mean? It trickles down. So I don't know. I mean, it's a shame that it didn't work out. But yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Eileen. They could make a push, but we got to get these guys back on the ice.
Absolutely. And then we've got Chuck saying, "Yo, gentlemen, what's up, Chucks? Hope everything's going well with you and fam." And let's see. I think that takes care of it. Dave got Rosca chiming in saying, I love watching John Madden on Monday Night Football on ABC.
Nah, I'm a little older than you, Dave. I remember Sunday afternoons with Pat Summerall, and now the two can be together again.
Yeah. And Ryan Swoop saying, what's up, fellas? What's up, Ryan? How's it going, man? And we got Benny's Nation chiming in. What's up, fellas? What's up, Benny's? By the way, if you see that little logo on the side of Benny's name, that means he is an A2D member. Listen, guys, this is actually a really cool membership because you do get perks. Yeah, it's $9.99 a month, but think about this. You get appearances on shows. We've had Prism on here twice, and we're always willing to have anybody on here. If Benny's wanted to come on here, he is more than welcome to. Anyone who's an A2D member is welcome to come on to the shows because we love talking to you guys, and what better way to talk to you than to actually see you on camera on the show. And then also you get shout-outs, you get members-only streams, weekly sports picks from the Money Pop Podcast and Willie Vegas, and those guys know what they're talking about. So trust me, you'll be making money. You'll be getting paid to be a member of this instead of paying $9.99 a month. You'll make it back and then some. All right, then, and let's see here. And David Rosca. Rosca, the Ducks will bounce back from a 6-5 loss to the Coyotes. I don't know. You lose to the Coyotes, that does weird things to you.
Yeah, it certainly can. It could put you in a tailspin. See what I did there?
Nah.
But no, I mean, hats off to the Ducks, man. Continuing putting pressure on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. That's going to be another key story here as we come back from the break. That race there in the Pacific, that's hot.
It is, man. It is. Who would have thought the Pacific Division would have been competitive? I don't think anybody, honestly.
When we were breaking down the divisions, didn't we say that the Vegas Golden Knights were going to run away with the Pacific?
I believe so, because Colorado was in the Central. So, yeah, it looked like it was going to be Vegas's division to lose. I mean, debatable if Edmonton was going to get its shit together, and they've gone on the skids a couple of times in their own right. So, but that's what happens when you rely on two players to score all the goals for you. But, well. But yeah, it's been a tight race over out there in the Pacific Division. But I got Tom saying, "What's up, my boys? Merry Christmas." What's up, Tommy? And he said, "I'm going to
Happy Christmas."
Yeah. He's saying, "Going to disagree." Hopeful talk. Oh, that's funny.
I mean, it will be. I mean, they have kind of crept back in. I mean, you're talking about what 4 points behind. Surprising Detroit team that's occupying now that second wild card spot, and so bring up the actual numbers as of current. You have Detroit at 33. 4 points. Yeah, Philadelphia 29, tied with Columbus, and those damn Bruins sandwiched there in the middle.
Why won't they just go the fuck away? Seriously.
Yeah, right.
Well, we will have something to say about cum fungus later. We'll get to that when we get to that. Meanwhile, Greg's saying, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Greg?" And what we got? Let's see. Eileen's saying, "Do you get A2D yoga pants?" I'm not sure, actually. I'm pretty sure they got it over at Philly Drinkers. I would be surprised if they do. But
hey, we'll get them if you want to model them.
Good incentive there. Which, by the way, might as well throw it out there since we mentioned it. If you do want to get A2D merch and support us and support the whole show and support the entire station, PhillyDrinkers.com. You can find them with the pages, A2D Radio, that you see down there. Great stuff they got over there. They've always got new T-shirts. They've got hats. They got shorts. They've got mugs. They've got everything over there. It's very rare to find something they don't have.
Yeah, truth be told, man, everything, man. Everything under the sun. We got it there for you.
Absolutely. Chris is saying Happy New Year's. What's up, Chris? Happy New Year's to you. Greg saying, "Disagree with the poll. They're athletes. They should be fine. Drop the puck already." Yeah, trust me, Greg. We've been feeling the effects of this very early Christmas break as well. It's getting bad.
I know. I was like, come on, give me hockey already. Come on. This
Luckily,
week's been hell.
Yeah. Luckily, the World Juniors came in. Yeah. Luckily, the World Juniors came in a little bit to sort of give us a little bit of a fix before the NHL comes in. At least it's that small bump before the big before the giant line. Yeah. Anyway, Greg saying, "Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you guys, to my guys." Thanks, man. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you as well.
Love you, brother. All the best, your fam.
Absolutely. Ryan saying, "I believe Hart will be fine, but Ty guys on front him will really be a concern as usual." Or, well, he means the guys. But, yeah, I mean, I understand that because, defensively at times the Flyers had some issues. But overall, though, I think that they were starting to finally get back to that proper footing on defense. I mean, to be fair, too, even during that bad period, again, defense was relatively strong. Not every game, but relatively. I mean, defense has been doing a good job of keeping a lot of secondary chances away from Hart, which I do find good. They've been getting a lot of those passing plays that other teams have been trying to do properly. They do disrupt them a lot. I mean, hell, there were a couple of times I saw Risto do some timely checks along the boards, and that cut the play off immediately. So, I mean, I think the defense has been playing better this year. Like I said, it's not perfect. But, again, we also don't have Ryan Ellis. And I think that definitely does play a bit of a part into why the defense isn't always on top of its game. Would love to see one day for him to be in a Flyers jersey again, albeit, though, that's becoming as rare as a goddamn unicorn or a jackalope or something like that. Insert mythical creature here, because it just seems to be that's what Ryan Ellis has become to the Flyers. That just sucks, man. You get him, and then he gets hurt right off the bat. It's like, God damn it. Why does that only happen to us? It never happens to anybody else. Nobody else. It can't happen to any. Like, what about Pittsburgh? Could Jeff Carter not have broken his leg or something like that? It's like, why the fuck does he get to be healthy and score 50,000 fucking goals a goddamn year like he's still 20-something years old playing in Philly? Like, god damn it, man. Never happens to them. Jeez.
Don't you know, Matty? This is Philly. We can't have nice things here.
That's a good point.
But I mean, to your point, though, this is why we're seeing a depletion of solid defense in front of Carter Hart, much like we saw last year, because everybody was playing out of position. You know, when you had Ellis to pair with Provy on the top line, that slides everybody down a rung, and now they're playing directly in the pairing that they should be. Don't get me wrong. Braun has been nice and at times the best defender on this team playing next to Provy, but you're not going to get 82 games out of those caliber of games from Justin Braun. It's not going to happen.
No, you're right. And unfortunately, Provy, he's had a bit of a rough go of it. I mean, he's had some great moments, but he has had some doozies where he's not only allowed a player to get behind him, he's just standing there with his schlong in his hand, and he just watches the other player just go right on down the other side of the ice with the puck. I was like, Provy, please, no, don't do this to me. Don't make me get mad at you. Like, I'm already mad at Connect Me. Please do not make me get mad at you.
Yo, Priz, I got a well, this is probably a chipmunk technically, but I got your squirrel right here, man.
Yeah, hopefully Rocky's doing well.
Yeah.
Prism saying Dallas is walking back up the central standings and Chicago is making steady progress. I just need the Habs to give a fuck. Well, right now, I mean, hey, they sure gave a fuck when they played Philadelphia, or should I say Primo gave a fuck when he played Philadelphia. But then again, it was his father's team, so you know. Albeit though, Keith did play for another team that we got him from. But still, I think most people remember Keith Primo for his time with Philadelphia. I would argue and say most people remember him for that time period. But yeah, Primo's Caden Primo, he played really well in that game. That was a frustrating loss for me to take against Montreal. Oh. And he said traded a first for Dvorak. Ryan saying, I believe Carter Hart will be fine, but the guys in front of him will be the problem.
Yeah, he just
corrected.
Yeah,
just correcting that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got Joey DiWardino. What's up, my guys? Joey, what's going on, man? Hopefully you had a great Christmas.
No doubt, man. He's a monster in the not a sports crew. I'm just close. Keep him coming, Joey.
Benny's saying US had to forfeit tonight, which Rob, actually, that's one of the major news stories that you have up and ready to go due to COVID, right?
Basically they had to forfeit against the Swiss due to a mandated team quarantine. 2 of their players were positive for the virus, so unfortunately they had to forfeit that game. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. They should still be able to move on, and the good thing is that regulation's not really in play this year, so ultimately it won't be a mountain that they have to overcome.
Gotcha. Okay, then. And I'm sure somebody might say, well, why wouldn't they just postpone it? It's like, well, it's a little different because it's an international tournament and you don't want to extend that. You want to get that done as soon as possible because also these junior players, a lot of them have other teams they got to get back to. Most of them are on loan, especially the European players. They're on loan a lot of times from pro leagues over in Europe because a lot of 19-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 20-year-olds, they play in those European pro leagues. And the American players, whether Canadian or U.S., got to get back to their junior teams because their seasons aren't done yet.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of time, much like the Olympics would have been. There's a set time frame. So it's not like, and in the NHL, it's still an issue even when you have the room in the schedule. And we'll get in. I don't want to jump ahead. I know we have that planned for later in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian was saying that, World Junior is being affected right now as well. Like Benny said.
Well, I've read a lot of comments today that maybe it was foolish to have this in Canada where they're having a huge problem getting this under control. I mean, I don't really worry about the safety of the players. I think by now everything's so depleted that it's not like a life or death issue, but it still affects the game. You know what I mean? It shortchanges matchups and like, look at this, how to have a forfeiture of a game. Maybe it should have been relocated. Can't really relocate the Olympics. I get it. And maybe it would have been equally as hard here too, but at least that was what they were saying out in the Twitterverse, where toxicity runs wild.
Yeah, true. I mean, I get it, but at the same time too, when you've already committed to a location and everything, it's kind of hard to go back on that when you've already set up everything. And plus also we're forgetting, the IIHF also does get sponsors and stuff like that go into there knowing that tournament's going to take place in that area. So it's a tough sell to try and tell an advertiser, we got to change the location because of this. I'm sure that they would be a little bit more open to it, but again, money walks, as the old saying goes. I know that may seem like a weird thing to bring up there in an international tournament, but they do make money. The IHF makes a pretty decent coin off of international terms. World Championship actually makes pretty decent money over in Europe. So, and that's during the summer when their leagues are done. It's during the NHL playoffs for us, but for them, their hockey seasons are over. So it's perfect for them.
Yeah, no doubt. I learned one thing in my lifetime, Maddie. Money talks and bullshit walks. You know what I mean? So that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, that it is. Let's see. Pete's saying, yo, boys. What's up, Pete?
Hey.
Agree to the poll.
Okay.
Person saying, yeah, Maverick Bork got the 1C line spot over McTavish, which surprises me. Interesting.
Probably a little discussion going down in the YouTube chat.
And Zegers found his way to the protocol. Oh, that's not a good thing to have Trevor Zegers go on to that. He was having a good year too, so that's even worse. Let's see. Dylan Ushler saying, been depressing with about 3 weeks without Flames hockey. Oh yeah, I could imagine, man. Yeah. It's been rough for us. We haven't had the Flyers, so yeah, it's tough, especially considering the fact that it postponed 2 rivalry games. Going to face Washington. It's actually going to be their 50th time meeting Washington in history, so it would have been a landmark game. And then there would have been the second bout of the Battle of Pennsylvania, which would have been nice to see the Flyers with some momentum on there, so I get a chance at revenge on Pittsburgh for the Penguins beating us in Pittsburgh, which is weird because we usually beat them there. But still, point is it sucked.
Well, I mean, hey, no doubt about it. But Dylan, I mean, the bright side is that when they get to what would normally have been the Olympic break, you'll get a plethora of Flames games by then. Great for the fans. Maybe not so great for the team having to run a gauntlet, where probably they're going to play a very similar schedule to what we saw in 2021.
Yeah. Let's see. Benny's saying, love the threads the U.S. is wearing in this tourney. Yeah.
Was it from 96? Is that what it was? Throwback to that? Or in the 96 or 98, whatever the Winter Olympic year was?
I believe it was 90s. What, Nagano? Or the Winter Olympics in Nagano? Or was it the World Cup?
I was thinking Salt Lake City. I know they're definitely a throwback to the late 90s. I just forget what the year was. I'm not good with the years like you, Maddie. I burnt too many brain cells.
I think it's 98, but I'm not 100% positive on that. But
it's 96. Yeah, it's 96.
It was 96. Okay then. Yeah. So gotcha. Ted FX, what's up, Ted? Saying, what channel is the Flyers game on? Well, tomorrow I believe is it NBC? I believe it's on NBCSP. Let me check this here. Tomorrow,
you got it?
Yeah, NBCSP will be where they're broadcasting tomorrow. So that would be where to go. And obviously, if you're not in the Philadelphia area or the Seattle area, you can always get ESPN Plus and check it out there. Let's see. Hey, Joe, what's up, brother? Saying, with the state of the Flyers, it's unlikely we will be seeing them in the playoffs. Would have been nice to see the NHL in the Olympics. Well, the playoffs, we'll see as we go along. I mean, still have the whole second half left to go for the season, and the Flyers, like Rob said, crawled a little ways back into it, only about 3 or 4 points out, so they're not dead in the water. But I get where you're coming from, though. There's inconsistency, which it could ultimately do us in. It's done us in before. And as for the Olympics, yeah, kind of sucks about that situation, but we'll definitely talk about that more when we go a bit later on and around the league. We'll get into the Olympic talk and what happened there. And Anthony's saying the hockey gods are sick of Giroux too. It's just great, the hatred for Giroux. I bet you it's like, I wonder if you took that liquid concentrated, hey, would it be like a black, like kind of tar-like liquid, or would it be this sort of like pink, fluffy like liquid just to throw you off? Just like, why is it pink and fluffy and looks like it would make you fall in love with someone? What?
I got it right here. Here's the bottled up hate right here. It's pink and fluffy.
There we go.
One of my greatest Christmas gifts this year. Perfect for a show called The Hockey Happy Hour. I will do shots if requested.
The person saying Canadians will be wilding the fuck out. They got a brief window. And they went ape shit over Tim Hortons and bacon. Oh, let's see here. And Bride chiming in. Dylan is in for the long haul. I heard they canceled 10 more games in Canada or something along those lines. Wow. And luckily the Flames have 2 good goalies in Markstrom and Vladar for all the back-to-backs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think Vancouver was probably should have re-signed him with Jake Markstrom. But yeah, I mean, Markstrom's been playing well, and Vladar isn't a bad goalie. I remember watching him last year when he was playing for the Bruins, and he was an annoying prick to score on. So that's usually a good sign. Let's see. What does Ben Simmons and Claude Giroux have in common? They are useless to their teams. Let's see here. I say, gotta run. Have a great night, guys. Be well. You have a good night, Eileen. And let's see. All right. Oh, Ryan's got a long one here. Can you guess the one guy Chuck Fletcher had in Minnesota who he signed as a free agent after being on 2 teams for his first 10 years in the East and half of the season in the West? He was one of my favorite players. He was one of the fastest skaters in the league with one of the deadliest snapshots. I wish he was in the league today or a player similar to him. He was traded for one of the best defensemen all time after only player half a year with the Western team, and he was traded from his okay, so that goes even longer.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. You go ahead, Rob. You got an idea on who this could be?
Why'd I open my fat mouth? Damn it. My first instinct was Parise, but I don't think that's him because I think he's still active in the league, is he not?
Well, Parise is still active, although, right. I mean, he hasn't really done anything since signing that big contract with Minnesota.
But one of the fastest skaters in the league, deadly snapshot, but he says was a lot. I mean, like he was one, you know what I mean? So I'm taking it that this is a retired player now. But yeah, that would have been my guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's 10 teams in 10 years in the East and half a season in the West. So I was thinking for a moment Gaborik, but then I realized that wouldn't make sense because Gaborik played for a little while in Minnesota, and then he wound up playing. He played pretty much his entire career out in the West. So that wouldn't make any sense.
True.
Huh. I'm trying to think.
I looked up the original comment here. Where did it end off? It ended off
from his
from his original team, big revival of ours to the Western team, then traded back to the East for one of the best defensemen who finally won it all. One of the best defensemen who finally won it all makes me think of Raymond Bourque.
Yeah. Because the truth is Minnesota was in the league by that time because Minnesota came back into the league in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities. Oof, that's tough because I'm trying to remember who was on those early Minnesota Wilds team. Because there were some notable players, but they were an interesting team back then.
Come on, Maddie. You're the trivia king. We need you. I need you because I fucking suck.
Well, hold on. Well, okay. Well, listen. If this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, this would be the million question. So hold on a second. These are the tough ones.
Yeah, it is.
Swoop gave it. Yeah, it was Brian Ralston. Okay, that adds up. Brian Ralston, who was great player.
Yeah, great player. I wouldn't say fast. Like, was he that fast?
I think he was a decently fast player.
The fastest. Like, I sense a little bit of subjectiveness from Mr. Ryan Swoop here. A little bit. No, I love you, Ryan. This is a fucking tremendous question. And anyway, but yeah. That's it. Yeah, Ralston was a devil too. That was the connection.
That was his 10 years in the East. Yeah,
which is probably why I'm hating on Ralston because he was a devil.
Funny part is he was actually one of their better offensive players during a time period where they weren't really an offensive team. They were more of a defensive team back then. And everybody wonders why they wound up winning a cup because, well, they frustrated everybody by a little thing called the trap, which makes sense that he went to Minnesota because Minnesota played the trap too when they first came into the league. Anyway, and I wish the Flyers had him and a player like him. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of players I wish had played for the Flyers. Unfortunately, they didn't. Although there were some cool players that played for the Flyers, so I guess it evened out. Maybe.
Yeah.
But
hey, I know I'm hating on him. I would have liked to, you put on orange and black sweater. Now all of a sudden you're gold to me. That's cool.
Yeah, you're forgiven.
Stay gold, pony boy. Stay
gold. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Maxime Talbot, but when he put on the orange and black, I was like, all right, his sins are forgiven. He's a Flyer now. Anyway, I thought Ralston was more of a devil than a Wild. Oh, yeah, he's definitely more remembered for his time as a devil.
But he had an impact there in Minnesota, for sure.
He did. Yeah. And that was during, like I was saying, it makes sense why he was on that team. They played the trap very early on in their history because Minnesota knew it didn't have an offensive juggernaut. So it said, all right, we'll just play the trap. And that's exactly what they did. And it worked, actually. And a lot of people got frustrated playing Minnesota because of that reason.
Yep.
I do believe, was it Manny Fernandez who was their first goalie? I think it was Fernandez, but I could be wrong.
Ooh, check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, definitely. I brought him up because Fletcher had him, and he's the Flyers GM. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I got that. That was excellent, Ryan. Thank you, man.
Wow. What's up, Don?
Don, what's up, man?
Better late than never. And
stick with us, Don. Stick with us, Don. I'm going to put a smile on your face in the shootout segment.
All right, then. And speaking of segments, let me get to our first period sponsor here before we continue moving forward. And that first period sponsor is Gleason's Bar, and that is located at 67 Mill Creek Road, as Ryan Swoop told us a couple weeks ago. Over in the Levittown, PA area. You can use the promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, takeout, or online at Gleason'sBarnSteaks.com. Great place to go. Great food. So definitely go check them out. You'll enjoy it there. And let's see here. Chris Dunn saying, what's up, fellas? Merry Christmas. What's up, Chris? Yeah, it's just like LeCavier was a Lightning than a Flyer.
I burnt that out of my memory. That does not exist.
Yeah, that was not the best time to be a Flyers fan. That was a rough period. Anyway, all right. So as we continue forward with all the issues that the Flyers have been facing off with players that have been hitting the protocol list, we now turn our attention to tomorrow night. It'll be at 10 o'clock. It'll be Flyers in Seattle, game number 2 in the history of these two franchises against each other. Flyers absolutely devastated the Kraken in Philadelphia. This was during the time period when the Flyers were, very early on kicking ass, taking names, and we thought, oh my God, we're in for another great season. And whew, boy, we could not have been any more wrong on that one, could we? But anyway. So, with a chance to pick up where you left off after getting a big victory against the Ottawa Senators 2 Saturdays ago, Rob, what do you expect here against the Kraken in the Kraken's barn?
Well, we talked about what these teams were at coming into the break, and the Kraken were starting to pick up a little steam. They had a pretty even, actually exactly even down the road last 10 at 4-4-2. They did lose their last 2 games coming in or going into the break. So maybe that time off makes them a little stronger, because they can be a pesky team. We've seen that. And, it's going to be a little test because just looking at these practice lines for Monday, now these are going to change a little bit. This wasn't factoring in Morgan Frost and Kevin Hayes, who have been removed from protocols, and a couple other roster moves. But listen to these, based on the lack of center iceman, Maddie, these lines are nuts. It was Patrick Brown centering Farabee and TK. Claude Giroux centering Oscar and Cam, which we've seen now. Actually, that's becoming a regular thing now. Mayhew with centering JVR and Cates. And this was the capper, man. Nick Seeler centering Max Willman and Zach McEwen. A defenseman, man. He's a jack of all trades, apparently.
Apparently. But you gotta love that. You gotta love both Seeler and McEwen, man. Good God, those two just that relentless attitude that those two guys have.
Right. So I mean, you're not going to have your full squad, but I feel like if you're going to pick any game to come back from the break, having some guys out of the lineup due to the health and safety protocols, you would definitely pick the Kraken. No.
Yeah. I mean, the Kraken, a little bit more healthier.
True.
Usually that gives them the slight edge. Although, to be fair, when we least expect the Flyers to do anything, they all of a sudden do something. So there is that edge to it. What should we call this? Should we call that the Philadelphia Magic? Because I feel like that should be what it's called. It should be called Philly Magic there. That it's like, oh, well, we're going to get the shit kicked out of us. And then all of a sudden, how the fuck did we win 6-2? This makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I would say Seattle does have the edge of the fact that they are in their building, so they're not in a hostile environment. And at the same time, too, I think the rest might have actually done them a little bit, maybe done them a little bit better. Although I'm gonna stay with the Flyers. I think the Flyers win this. I think they come out with a win in Seattle. I know it's going to be tough, but I think it'll be an ugly win because of the break. I think it might be like a 2-1, maybe 3-1 victory, but a really tight, victory. And I think it's going to take a real strong effort in goal. But I think it wouldn't surprise me if Jones puts up a real good game because he's been putting up good games in this season. Or maybe we see Markstrom right out of the gate. I highly doubt that. I think they'll go with Jones to start this trip off. But but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I could see Jones. Putting up a good game, and maybe they can get that win on that one.
Yeah. I mean, presumably, if the game does go off as scheduled, I mean that's a question in this day and age right now. But
yeah.
Yeah, you will see Jonesy there. I mean, he's got experience. He knows these teams. If you're going on a West Coast trip, I mean, not the Kraken, of course, but you got the Sharks, the team he came from, the Kings, the Ducks. These are teams that, hey, well, they know him too. So, turnabout is fair play. But hopefully, like you said, you get some good play there, for however long Carter Hart's out. And assuming that he doesn't make this West Coast trip at all, as I said in the beginning, I'm going to be really excited to see Felix Sandstrom in the pipes because you got You basically got tomorrow's game, then you got back. It's a back-to-back with the Sharks. So maybe you see him on a Thursday against the Sharks, then January 1st against the Kings, and then against those damn Ducks, which that'll be a real tester, But I can't even talk bad about the Ducks. They're a good team. But I sometimes I just like to get under Daly's skin, and I forgot he's not here right now. He's in the chat. He's hearing me.
Yeah.
He's cursing my name. He's talking bad shit about me. He's talking about that fucking cheesy mustache. Yeah, I got it.
Well, he's
Caterpillar's back, baby. The Caterpillar's back. Little gray though. Little grayer than when you met me, Maddie.
While SJP is sipping on wine with their girlfriends over there and on HP.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It's all locked and loaded. Word.
Oh, nice. See, they thought of everything for you there. Let's see. Dylan saying Flames' first practice back was so bad that Markstrom threw his stick into the netting. Not looking forward to the slumping Flames. Just want to re-sign Gaudreau, Kachuk, and Mangiapane, then put a stamp on the season now. Very low expectations from on that one. Benny's saying big robbery with San Jose getting Burns for Setaguchi. Yeah. I remember when Burns came to the Sharks, and turns out just don't put him on the wing. Just put him on the defense, and then he'll be perfect for it. And that's exactly what happened. That was the answer the entire time, was just change his position. Well, I guess Burns, although having watched a lot of the Sharks games, I would say Burns' defensive side has actually picked up better in recent years. It used to be where Burns was just offense. He was like a lesser skilled Paul Coffey, I think would be the way to describe it. But
right.
Yeah, now he's actually picking up that defensive element too, and I think because Carlson's with him, that would be the only reason why I think he's picking that up. But
yeah, for sure.
Chris saying the Eagles made a miraculous return. Maybe the Flyers can. Well, that's true. Look at the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are what? Are they at 5? They're above 500 now, right? They got one win over.
Certainly.
Yeah. So, who knows? I mean, the Eagles. Who knows? If I don't know how the Cowboys did, but if anything goes wrong on that, maybe the Eagles can breeze their way into it in the last few weeks of the season. I don't think it will happen, but still, you get my point. They
can make the wild card. The division's locked up, but they're in a strategy. Pretty much, they control their own fate. They win their games. They're solidly and they are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. It could be really going streaking. When it comes playoff time, I think you do have to recognize what teams they've been defeating. The Giants, the Jets, the Broncos. You know what I mean? Not subpar teams at best. So. But you get on a roll, man. You can't control, just like Tommy said on Sunday. You can't control what the schedule makers put in front of you. You still got to play the game and beat them, though. And the Giants showed that they could beat them and upset them in the first matchup a couple weeks back. So as long as you get on that roll, sometimes beating on, like with the Flyers, you beat on those lower brow teams, and that builds momentum to where you are facing the elite. No,
you're right. I mean, it starts with you getting a big victory. I mean, you get. If you're facing a team like Ottawa, it's like, well, Ottawa's not going to make the playoffs. Yeah, Ottawa isn't barren of talent, but they're a team that's going to miss. We all know they're going to miss. They're still a work in progress. You got to take advantage of that. Go ahead, get a couple of points on them. And then if next game you got to take on Pittsburgh, a better team, and a team that can compete with you, it's like, all right, carry that momentum in from the next game and then compete with Pittsburgh. Don saying, I hate COVID. The Wings game tomorrow is postponed. That sucks, man. Sorry for you. Let's see. He's saying, what's up, Don? And gotta love the camaraderie here in the chat between everybody.
And we get together for the holidays. I love it.
He's like, did Tocchet sign his contract yet with the Flyers as coach? No, he's still. No, that has not happened. Did anybody watch the World Juniors? Unfortunately, my work schedule prevented me from watching some of the World Junior games, so I was not able to. unfortunately. Yeah, let's see. Dylan saying Kraken did take a big loss with Brandon Tanev with a torn ACL. That is true. Brandon Tanev is a big loss for them. He was one of their big players. Let's see. And Brian saying, can we talk about how good Connor Bedard is?
No. Yes, we can if you'd like. Absolutely, because he is fantastic.
Anthony saying, am I watching Fletcher? I'm waiting for Fletcher to get fired after signing a 60-year-old Ellis. Oh, that's a little harsh, but okay. I mean, he's not 60, he's 40. But, I mean, he's 40 in NHL standards. Brian saying, first 16-year-old to have a hat trick in World Junior since Gretzky. That's impressive to get a nice hat trick like that for the first time since Gretzky did it. Wonder if I mean, we already know that Ovechkin's most likely catching, Gretzky at this point. So it's one of those things of now it's going to be, okay, who's going to be the next Ovechkin? At least goal scoring wise. If overall points producing, you're still, that's a big mountain to climb on the Gretzky one. But, per se, love watching Kane passing Fleury off in practice. Dylan saying Sediguchi was a bust for Calgary outside of a shootout winner. Mason Raymond was the biggest disappointment as he scored a hat trick against Calgary every game when he played for Vancouver, then shit the bed when he played for Calgary. Trust me, man. We know that pain. We know that pain. There have been a few players of the Flyers have grabbed from their rivals and have all of a sudden realized, shit, this player sucks. What the fuck happened?
Ooh, that shot's got me all warm and fuzzy. This is some nice. What is this proof? Ooh, damn. 30% alcohol, man. Oh, this could be dangerous. Nah, it's just 60 proof. I don't know. It's vodka, man. It gets me all warm.
Well, before we continue forward, one sponsor we'll talk about is, when you do a little drinking and having a good time and everybody with your friends, sometimes when you're at the bar or what have you, get a little bit of liquid courage in you and you see a nice young lady just sitting down there at the end of the bar and you want to take a chance. Well, here's the thing. It takes more than a little bit of liquid courage to land her. You need a little thing called confidence on top of it. And what better way to get your confidence than Manscaped? Because you see, once you take care of all those sensitive regions, shall we say, and you free it up of the bush, next thing you know, you got yourself pretty confident young man right there. You want to get that nice young lady at the end of the bar. Manscaped's the one to do it for you. 20% off, free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com and unlock your confidence, gentlemen, and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. And remember, Brian says it, I'll say it this week because he's not here. Get rid of that junk funk. No lady likes it. Hell, no guy likes it. So you know what? Get rid of it.
Yeah, buddy. I got my new razor on the way. My Christmas gift from me to me.
So let's see here. Anthony saying Fletcher is starting to be like Holmgren signing 50-year Ellis, and while Fletcher is on fire, let's trade for 80-year-old Chara and 400-year-old Nostradamus Joe Thornton and sign 200-year-old Czech Jesus right. Jaromir Jagr. Hey, don't trash on Jaromir Jagr. You put respect on that name right there. That's a man who can still get it. I mean, Joe, he's a family man now, and maybe slowing down a little bit. That's why he went to the retirement home in Florida. But,
Anthony, I got to put a stop to this hate because it's just too much hate, man. I'm a positive person, believe it or not. But were we all trashing Chuck Fletcher when he signed Ellis this offseason? No, I think we were all pretty ecstatic, right? He caught a nasty injury that put him out week to week. Doesn't mean he's old. It's just he got hurt and he tried to come back. And much like Adam Thielen in the NFL, he came back too soon. And now he's out for a long haul. But this is a guy that's going to contribute to the squad. We saw it in brief glimpses He's a guy that isn't the biggest defenseman out there, but can lay hits just like Risto can. Brings a good offensive game. Obviously, a solid defender. Stop trashing Ellis, dude. Please stop it.
Yeah, I mean,
I love you. You're part of the family.
Yeah. I will say too, it's kind of the same thing with me with Hayes. Like there are times where I'll watch Hayes. I was watching him play Ottawa. He skated right into traffic. I'm like, good job, Hayes. Skated right into traffic. Brilliant job. Why the fuck do we pay you? And then I realized, well, all right, let's pull it back. I know it sucked at that moment, but again, it's only his 5th or 6th game back from his injury. So you know what? All right. Let's give him time. Let's see what the end of the season brings us. Who knows? Maybe he'll go on a nice scoring streak. I hope. It would be nice to see. And let's see here. Let's bring back Paul Coffey. I don't know if you would want that one, Rob.
No. Fully support that comment.
Well, it's like he didn't do anything when he was wearing the orange or black.
No, he did. He did something. He collected money. That's what he did.
He collected Ed Snyder's paychecks.
Yes.
Oh. Here's to say it. I didn't like any of the moves. Once again, giving up on young players. Well, I don't know if they were giving up on Myers. Myers was undrafted and he was unproven, and he really didn't do anything the following season. He had a solid season in the 2019-20 season. 2020 was it the 2020-21? I forget. Anyway, point is, the COVID year, I'll just call it that, where we had to do the mad dash for the playoffs, Myers really did not do anything. He was very weak on his defensive assignments. So I totally get why that move happened. Nolan Patrick, too, he didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here. He didn't want to play here. So it's like, all right, if he doesn't want to be here, there's no point in keeping him around if he doesn't want to play. It's like, go play in Vegas. And hell, he hasn't really done anything out there either. And I don't really think Myers done a little bit for Nashville, but I can't say that he's been killing it out there, So I don't think it was a bad deal looking back on it,
I will say this though, Chris is 100% right. He was down on the Ellis signing. He was down on I think especially down on the Risto deal.
Yes.
Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. But in terms of giving up that the number 13 pick, so yeah, I can back that up by Mr. John there.
Yeah, I would, again though, looking back on that deal, it's still not a bad deal. You know what I mean? You get a defensive leader. You get rid of a couple players, one that doesn't want to be here, and then the other one who really wasn't killing it. So it's just like, it's not the end of the world giving up them. I understand if you were giving up players like, say, a TK or an Oscar Lindblom or something like that. I can understand that. Although TK is starting to piss me off to the point where it's like, you know what, just fucking get rid of him because he's pissing me the fuck off. But then it's just one of those things that I think, move had to be made to get a defensive leader, and they made the move. It's tough when you got to make those decisions, but, we still have, young players on the defensive end of the puck that are still ready to come up and still give themselves a shot. So it's not the end of the world.
I mean, pretty much with the development of Cam York, you didn't really need Myers anymore. You know what I mean? Like, because who would you rather have playing for you long term? Phil Myers or Cam York? I'm going to pick Cam York 10 days a week.
Yeah, absolutely. And Prism saying, I liked all the moves. Not going to lie, all 3 defensemen and Cam were good in my book. Couldn't predict 6 coaches in 8 years.
That's true, Chris. I mean, that's the thing, though. That's almost a shame, though, because you had some guys like Patrick, the aforementioned one, and others who you could tell it was a rift with AV, and you traded them away, and now AV's not here either. So, but to your point, Maddie, what is really Nolan doing out there in the desert? Nothing. You know what I mean? And to Priz's point, yeah, I mean, Cam is satisfying that sniper role for this team. Can you still improve on that? Yes, but at least you got a guy that's got a nose for the net. He's got a great shot, and we've seen him even get those dirty goals in front of the net too. My expectations for Cam Atkinson have been far exceeded. Yeah,
I agree. It's just one of those things that, immediately Oh, God, Chris ghosted first for nothing, sent me over the edge. Should have been JVR if it was just Cap. I get that, but I guess Arizona didn't want JVR. I mean, that's pretty bad. If Arizona isn't willing to take you on, it's like, ooh, that's an insult. If I was a player in the league, I would have been insulted by this. Like, Arizona, you don't want my services? A 5-year-old could play better on this team than half your players. What are you talking about?
I don't even think the Flyers are offering them there in that scenario. They're looking to free up room in the defensive corps because they had plans, they had changes in place, and young guys to potentially fill that role. I mean, JVR, I get it, man. I get how people are frustrated with him, but you just don't recognize what he does away from the puck, and these coaches and this organization does. You know what I mean? Like, overall, I mean, yeah, has he had some bad moments? Sure, but I think he plays an overall solid game that provides you at least stability on the third. Like, he's a solid third liner to have on any organization.
And I get also, I think a lot of that hatred is that he is overpaid, and I agree.
Yeah,
he's making way too much money for what he does production.
I have the opposite opinion of Chris, but he's not wrong either. You know what I mean? Yeah. I get it.
He did go on to say he did love the Cam move, and Jake was a dick, not a leader. And we could agree on that. Jake did cause a lot of problems in the locker room. I'll take Ghost over Yandel every day. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. The Yandel signing has unfortunately come back and bit us in the ass. Yandel's been getting caught all the time out of position, and he turns the puck over like a motherfucker. Yes, he's had some good moments to make up for those, but if you turn the puck over and that team scored on you, your great defensive moment don't mean shit, really, at the end of the day. It doesn't balance out the fact that, yeah, you're the reason why they scored. So, just saying, guys. Just saying. Yes, we got Patrick Bernard saying, what's up, fellas? What's up, Pat? Hopefully everything went well for you Christmas. And let's see here. Brian saying that Bedard has 4 goals. So that's pretty cool. And tried to go on and say, I think their mentality earlier in the season under AV was the biggest issue. They seem to be playing better under Yao. I would agree. I think they have been playing better under Yao. Sure, they've had moments where they probably could have played a little bit better. They still need to play a full 60 minutes, which is still frustrating me because of the fact that second period, man, every time they get that second period going, they just fuck it up. It's like, why? What is up with the second period all of a sudden? Why is it that one period every year is your weak spot? It shouldn't be that way. It's like, yes, I get it. You're not always going to have a great period in every game. We know this. You're going to have a bad game. It's going to happen every team. But a lot of teams usually can fix this problem. I don't know why the Flyers have such a hard time fixing a problem that's clearly staring them in the face of like, well, maybe if you play better in the second period, you won't have as many issues as you normally do. Like, you know, like nut the fuck up and play a full 60. That'd be nice. That's my biggest gripe with this team is they just don't play a full 60, and that inconsistency kills them. Sometimes eliminates them from winning a game.
Right. This is a fabulous comment. I don't know if you already showed this or not, but Anthony goes on and goes, Ben Simmons and Nolan Patrick have the same agent. They were taught how to steal money and be useless. Oh, there you go. You got it. You got it right there.
Yeah, right when you were reading it off, I looked for it.
You're back in, Anthony. You're back in.
Prism saying he should be mainly on the power play. Obviously talking about Yandel. Don saying 1-10. What are your confidence level at? The Flyers can turn it around? I mean, yeah, I think the Flyers can. I think the problem is that a lot of the issues that they were going on with, clearly the team was not working well in the AV system anymore, and it was being counterproductive, if anything. Guys were missing assignments. The offense was getting read easy, apparently, and they weren't getting on those loose pucks, and they weren't outworking players, you know. And I feel like the one positive element of it was, like I said, the defense was decent enough to where they kept them in games, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to stop them from losing games, which, again, Flyers are trying to be an offensive team, not a defensive team. So that was the problem. And so now that you got Yao, I think it does help because I think the defense gets an opportunity to really have a chance to shine, but at the same time, the offense gets a chance to kind of open themselves up a little bit more and not be constrained to AV's system, which apparently that might have been what was the problem, was that issue. Which, again, that apparently he has had a history of having issues with younger players. That may have been another issue that we don't talk about too much on that. So there you go. So let's see. Ooh, 9-1. Jesus. Austria is getting smoked.
What's the guard have 7 goals by now?
Yeah.
He's at 4, right? He's at 4. That's right. He's up there.
And Dylan saying Flyers need to fix the power play. Yeah, I mean, the power play has had some moments since Yao took over that they've looked good, but then there's other moments where it's like, again, they had that shorthanded goal against Ottawa that allowed Ottawa to get into the game and tie the game up. It's like what the fuck, guys? You know, it's like they got to fix that power play. Let's see. Joe Povia, I want a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, he is the provider of said stick. Fabulous,
Nice.
Joe. Appreciate it. That was the gag gift, though. It was that, and I don't know if you've all noticed it in the melee, but this is freaking awesome. Look at it, little elf on the ice rather than on the shelf. Solid. Merry Christmas, everybody! If you're just joining us, by the way.
Yeah. So, Flyers versus Kraken, that will be happening on Wednesday. That was our first period talking, and our main talking point for the first period. And that was brought to you by eXp Realty. You know, if you're planning on buying or selling a home, having a change of career or brokerage, that's a big step in life. You know, that's a huge step. And you want to do it right. So definitely go to Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC. You can give him a call at 302-682-8820 or visit him at the web at alan.foy at exprealty.com. Guys, listen, do it right. Alan Foy, next thing you know, you're selling your old home, you're stepping into your new one, or maybe you're stepping into your new apartment or whatever. Either way, he's the guy to go to for all of that. All right, then. And now that we got that, we go around the league. It's time for us to talk about what's been happening, not just around the NHL, but what's also been happening in the international side of things. We talked a little bit about it where the USA had to forfeit against the Switzerland team. We got plenty more, though, for you guys. And we might as well talk about the big one, the big elephant in the room, and that is the Olympics. So it was going to be a debated topic last week before the Flyers and Washington game got postponed in between periods. But now that it has officially come out that the NHL is not going to the Olympics, it's left a bit of a debate in the air. Like, should the NHL have had last say on it? Or should the players have had a say in this? Rob, you sent a really interesting tweet from one Brad Cumfungus Marchand, and I think it says it a lot. I think it does say a lot about some of the players' mentality over this decision.
Well, yeah, it comes in the line of, well, the league has made adjustments based on the rapid amount of positive tests that we're seeing, and I get it. He comes off and he says the NHL and the NHLPA can change the rules of the CBA to add a taxi squad so that they don't miss any games and don't lose any money, which is true. That's fair. Nice point. Which has already been agreed upon that the players would pay back in escrow until the owners are made whole from what they have lost during this pandemic, regardless how many games are missed. Yet they can't do a taxi squad during the Olympics so they can honor the agreement they made so the NHL players can go. Please tell me that's not bullshit. And for all of you who want to pipe back about forfeiting pay while being gone, yeah, not a problem. Let the players make their choice. Now, the only thing I agreed with there was the end of that statement, because that's always the case. The NHL could say, we're not going to the Olympics, but if an individual player wants to take a leave from his team and go and forfeit his salary to go honor that, they're more. As far as I know, I don't think there's any rules against that. I believe that is permissible. at this point. But the thing of it is, Maddie, though, is that, if you do have that right, so I don't know what he's saying here, right? But why are you taking it to Twitter? You know what I mean? That's the thing about it's like, okay, this is bothering me so much that I want to do on Twitter. Well, there's other things that you can do and go do. You know what I mean? You could go to Olympics if you want to, but do you really want to? Because this is not the same type of Olympic experience that you're going to get in other years. You're going to a bubble that makes the NHL bubble look tame. I mean, I do give it off. I was a little critical of the protocols that Beijing had in place for initially for these Olympics, but they stepped up their game big. And you're basically going to be there in the hotel room, isolated, going to the games, back no Olympic Village, no having your family there, seeing, that's the biggest thing. To have, no matter what sport you're doing in the Olympics, to have your family there and being a part of history. Now, you can still be that part of history, but it's not the same experience. I mean, for instance, Patrick Kane a few weeks back spoke to this, and he goes, let me just let this tweet load. Patrick Kane was looking forward to being in a leadership role with Team USA in Beijing. He says, quote unquote, I'm 33 right now. You're hoping that you could play as many as possible, speaking of the Olympics. I don't know if it really would have been a true Olympic experience this year, being in a bubble and all the worries going on over there, meaning Beijing. Vancouver was just unbelievable. I don't think the Olympic experience is going to be even close to comparable to what we had in 2010. And that's a great point. I mean, it's apples and oranges, Maddie.
Yeah. I mean, see, I can understand if he was mad about this for the 2014? I believe it was 2014 no, not 2014, but the year after that in Pyeongchang in South Korea, when the NHL had openly said years before that they're not going back to the Olympics because they didn't want to put the break into their schedule. I could understand him being mad during that time. And he was playing in the league, so it's not like he wouldn't have been able to say that. To me, I feel like it's one of those things of, it wouldn't be a real NHL, it wouldn't be a real Olympic experience, but also on top of it as well, it's like, I get that you could forfeit your pay and go. We got Hugh Harper saying hello. What's up, Hugh? And I would say, for me personally, if Marchand really wants to go, it's like, go then, But then again, like you were saying, it's like, does he really? Or does he just want to bitch and complain because that's what he does better than most players? I think he might actually do it better than Crosby, honestly.
He's a yapper, Batty. You hit the nail right on the head. He's a yapper. And it's like him, much like, and this is a reflection on society, where you can express your opinion 24/7, 365, instead of getting up and doing something. This generation is motherfucking soft, period.
The thing is, too, it's like, it sucks that NHL players aren't going to the Olympics, but I think that, but also think about this, too. The NHL, you signed a contract with the NHL. Yes, technically you are a contractor. You're not technically an employee of the NHL because you have a union, you're affiliated with that, and you signed a contract with them. However, you have to give the NHL a little bit of something. I can't believe I got to defend them on this. The NHL is trying to protect the fact that, they made an investment in you and they don't want to see you get sick so that way you can't actually be out there on the ice. It's like they don't want to see that happen to a bunch of players because of two things. One, players' health is very important. Two, money. Like, you don't have players out on the ice, you don't have money. You know what I mean? You need to protect that. And that's why the NHL made sure that they had this in there. They had this last minute clause in there. It's like, we can pull out. If things get bad, we're pulling out. And that's exactly what they did. And the fact that, and this was known. That's the other thing too. This was well known before this even came up. So it's like, are you really upset or are you really that surprised that this happened? You knew that this was a possibility. Yeah, I'm sure it would have been nice to go. Maybe, like you were saying, Rob, maybe, but it might not be. It's just one of those things of, you shouldn't be that shocked. There was way too many cases. It's just, it's ridiculous, in my opinion. It's like, I get why some people would be mad about it, but at the same time, it's like the NHL's trying to protect the investment. You're the investment. Maybe you're not an employee, but you're contracted to perform for them.
Right, and you have a responsibility to your team, and that should come first and foremost. But I get it. I'm an Olympic guy, and I get that spirit. If Marchand is truly coming from a accurate place here, but I don't know. I mean, when it comes down, this wouldn't be an issue had they been in the last Olympics. I think the issue is that they haven't been in it since 2010 in Vancouver. Because I think 2014, to your point earlier, was the year they said that they weren't going back to it. So I get that, and some guys have only been a professional for that long, and maybe never played as an amateur athlete or a junior. I get that, but it's not the same experience. You're also taking a big risk. I mean, I'm not being, racist at all when I say this, but you're kind of going in the line again, are you not? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I do applaud the Beijing IOC for putting such strict protocols, and it will keep these athletes safe. Hopefully, it will. Is my point. But
and you're going to a country that it's a communist country, and it's a country that likes to rein in a lot of civil liberties on its citizens a lot, and it can't. You think that they're afraid to detain you if you're sick? They don't want you going to the airport. Like, yeah, they'll detain you. They'll tell you, no, you can't go to the airport. They'll have someone stand there with an AK saying, like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. It's like, like you were saying, it's not necessarily it wasn't necessarily that. It was more of just, it's the government. The government is not just going to let you walk away. You know what I mean? If you're sick, they're going to tell you to stay.
Their quarantine period is actually still 14 days. Or at least as of last week. I haven't seen if that has been adjusted based on, like you see a lot of leagues adjusting their protocols. But as far as I know, 14 days. And let's say you finished your event and you test positive, you have to stay there for 14. You can't even go home. So I don't know. I mean, there's no real right answer here. I mean, I did listen to this interview by Dave Pignata of NHL Network on Sirius XM. He says that, during this 21-day break that, originally for the Olympics, they're going to need that time to make up these games. And you would like to have your full asset of players for those make-up games. The league's plan right now, it's still fluid, but he feels the league, they'll move forward with the All-Star Game festivities because, that's, again, a money thing, and I get that. And, there's an importance to it as well. And they're going to try to keep that normal bye week there for most teams between 7 and 8 days, but that could easily get compromised. The game should be starting to be made up around February 14th, which obviously at this point, it just, like we said, it leaves no room for the Olympics. But if individual player still wants to go, you're kind of putting your team, behind the 8 ball, No,
I would agree. And if anything, it's just, and again, go back to what I was saying about the NHL protecting itself, covering its ass here. It puts it on the player. It's like, well, we didn't send you. You chose to go. So that ain't on us, which, to be fair, the NHL has had a history of doing that. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But at the same token, though, as well, it's not like they're doing it as well because they want to spite you. They're doing it because they are kind of worried about the situation. They also, come hell or high water, the NHL is not trying to have the Stanley Cup get awarded in July. They want to have a regular season finished at the appropriate time. And if that means when the playoffs start, you have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 regular season games finishing up the regular season at the same time that the playoffs begin, so fucking be it. They did it last year. They're not afraid to do it this year. The reason why they're going to do it, it's real simple. Because they want to have a normal season. And they're going to do that in any way, shape, or form. Full 82, cup gets awarded in June, and you have a normal offseason. That's what they want. They want to get back onto the schedule of things, and they're going to do that come hell or high water. If that means sacrificing the Olympics, so be it. If that means saying, okay, we got to make up these games here in February. Because, I mean, think about it. The Flyers, they have 3 games where they got to play in those 2 weeks alone. That's just the Flyers, 3 games. But that's not including how many games for other teams. I believe the Sharks have 2 games they got to make up because there was no cross-border play going on for a period of time, and they had 2 games up in Canada that they had to play that they couldn't. So again, it's another one of those, okay, that's 2 games right there that have to be made up. You know, there's a ton of games that got to get made up for those over those 2 weeks. So again, the NHL's trying to have a regular season, full 82. They're trying to do what they got to do to have a regular season, come hell or high water. They don't care if that means sacrificing the Olympics. So fucking be it, you know. And again, I'm sure that while Marchand is bitching like he likes to do, I'm sure other players they understand. You know, Connor McDavid even said he gets it. You know, they asked him in a press conference after one of the Edmonton games, and he understood. It's like it is what it is. You can't control it. It's beyond the NHL's control, and it's beyond your control, really. What are you supposed to do? You know, at the end of the day. And
ooh, man, we got a barn burner. I think maybe the Habs did wake up for you there, Priz. Tied 3-3 right now. 9:17 left to go in the third period with a mighty Lightning team. That's a good showing.
yeah. Damian Hernandez. What's up, Damian? Saying NHL doing more than the NBA and the NFL to protect the players. And that's pretty much what the NHL is doing here. I mean, are they protecting the players? Yes and no. They're not just protecting the players, they're also protecting the season and the integrity of the season too. So there's 2 major points here that have to get brought up. To say that the NHL is doing this completely out of this sort of a paragon of virtue kind of way, no. It's not the major reason. The major reason is we want to get the season done at a regular time, and we want the cup awarded in June. So there's also cynical reasons behind it as well, very much so for the NHL. So it's both, really, at the end of the day. I'm sure they don't want players to get sick. At the same time, they also, you know, business reasons as well.
Sure. I need to pull back my statement there a little bit. I looked at the box score. They got Maxime Legacy in that, not Bazzi. So that's why it's 3-3 right now. Still, good on the Habs. Good on the Habs.
Absolutely. And Anthony's saying, breaking news, Chuck Holmgren Jr. just signed Eric Lindros, Danny Briere, and the biggest free agent of them all, Chris Chelios. Well, that would have been interesting if Chelios ever played for the Flyers. It would have been very interesting.
Hey, Maddie, you saw in the alumni game, Danny B looks like he can still play in this league.
Hell, there was that great play between Cote and Brashear. They had that nice little 2-on-1 going, and Brashear roofed a shot right into the back. And I was like, God damn, Brashear and Cote could play like this the whole time. Why the fuck were they fighting all the time? What the hell?
Honoring the hammer there, having a proclivity to score, but dropping the gloves instead.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, so overall, though, you know, does it suck that the NHL is not going to be at the Olympics? Yeah, but at the same time, it's circumstances beyond the control of anyone. What are you going to do? No one wanted COVID to come back with a vengeance this year, but it did, and it is what it is. I mean, like we said before, like you said earlier, Rob, is it as bad as it was? No, but it's still spreading pretty bad. So it's like best to play it safe, you know?
Right. Plus, I mean, somebody's got to play for Team USA. How about the opportunity that they're given, you know, young players, you know, amateur athletes or what have you to perform on a worldly stage. So, you know, I mean, be happy for them.
Absolutely. The chance for amateurs and maybe players that are juniors, but they've aged out and they didn't qualify for the junior team. So maybe they can get a tryout for Team Canada, Team USA, you know, I get it. That does heavily favor the European teams because their pro players that are in the other leagues. They're going to be readily available for the Olympics, but you know, it is what it is at the same time. You know, I'm sure Russia will probably win the gold, But no, well, it's not like that's never happened before. Anyway, so that's the Olympic situation. NHL not going is what it is. But there's other stuff to talk about as well, obviously. World Juniors going on right now. We did talk about the forfeit. Canada beating the shit out of Austria. Definitely something to keep an eye on with a lot of the young talent, obviously. Young up-and-coming players that have either been drafted, maybe some of them, some of them might be available this year for the draft, maybe get a second look, possibly get picked. Chris saying, Russia will send pros. It's BS. Well, that's because the KHL don't give a fuck. They can care less. You can do whatever the fuck you want over there. Hey, listen, they tried to keep Kaprizov. They were giving him all the hookers and Ferraris he could fucking want, and yet he said no and came back to Minnesota. So, hey, listen, I got to say, very impressive on that part, Billy Guerin. You outmaneuvered them, so good job on that one.
I mean, from what I've seen, Maddie, from the World Juniors, Finland looks exquisite, sitting at a 2-0 record, playing really good hockey right now. Germany, had that overtime win. Who was that against? I think that was against, if memory serves me correctly, that was against the Czechs. I think that was a big, huge win for Team Germany.
Absolutely. Usually the Czech Republic is here and Germany's here, but hey, you get a good win there, and that kind of motivates the team. Who knows? Maybe Germany will surprise everybody and wind up on the medal stand, which is shockingly rare. I mean, Germany does have a decent lineage in hockey, but they don't show up on the medal stand all that often.
Not that much, man. Bobsled, yes. When it comes to the Olympics, they're a champ. Not so much in the hockey.
Yeah. Soccer, all the fucking time. Well, let's see here. Second period sponsor for tonight. That was in the serious note for anyone out there who currently knows somebody, a loved one or a family member, or you yourself are currently having issues with mental issues or addiction issues, whether it be pills, even alcohol or what have you. Addiction and mental health, it's a very serious issue. It's the kind of stuff that really ruins lives. You see people who don't have anything, or they're basically living hand to mouth. And sometimes it's circumstances, but other times it's unfortunately self-inflicted wounds, which can result from addiction and, mental health issues. But there is hope. There is places to go. And one of those places is the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. And you can give them a call at 856-651-8117. Listen, guys, we don't want to see that happen to you, and we don't want to see a loved one of yours go through things like that. It's terrible to see someone's whole life go into a tailspin because they can't keep their addictions under control. Because, addiction, it's easy to make fun of somebody with addiction, but it's a sickness. It's a problem. They're always constantly battling that. And then a mental health issue, which, is just as bad, and sometimes it's worse than even a physical problem. They constantly fighting yourself. Your mind is a great thing, but it can also be your biggest enemy too. So make that call, help somebody out, get the loved one the help they need, get yourself the help you need, because it's very, very important. And especially as we enter the new year, you want to have a new year with good stuff. Not continuing issues such as addiction and mental health problems.
Absolutely.
All right then. And Dylan Ushler saying Kevin Weeks reported he wasn't coming back to Minnesota, just like he confirmed Eichel to Calgary. Yeah, Kevin Weeks, I would say he should have stuck to goaltending, but I don't ever really remember him having the most prominent goaltending career. He played on the team.
He was okay. He was a solid goaltender in this league.
I think he was a good backup. He was definitely a good backup. I know he played for the Devils for a period of time. He backed up Roeder. He backed up Lundqvist, I believe, for a period of time. So he backed up some really good goalies, and he did play well in the games he played. It's just, maybe stick to that because
Right,
the reporting is a little off.
right. I had a little note here where he brings up Jack Eichel, the new Golden Knights center iceman. He's working his way back, actually making that first initial step since getting the artificial disc replacement surgery that he had on November 12th, 8 days after Vegas acquired him, because the Sabres were like, well, no, we don't want you to get that surgery. It's not proven. And he goes, fuck you, trade me. But I mean, Eichel said it was a 3-month timetable from the date of operation, so it might be overly optimistic to think that he could make his Golden Knights debut before the All-Star break, but it should be right around that point, and that'll be a huge boost for Brian's team, Anaheim Ducks, to have to deal with there. He's been skating, and he could start practicing with the Knights in the near future is the latest.
Gotcha. Let's see here. Prism say Germany has to try to chill on the whole dominating the world of sports. Let's see here. Anthony saying I needed to drink lots of alcohol watching Scotty Upshaw and Joffrey Lupul play. I get the Scotty Upshaw. Although Joffrey Lupul did score that Game 7 OT winner against Washington back in 2008. So it wasn't all bad. I also did see my first game watching the Flyers. Well, second game watching the Flyers against Carolina. Lupul did have himself a hat trick. So, I mean, just saying, Lupul wasn't all bad when he played. Upshaw, he had his moments.
I mean, relating to this comment, Anthony, ironically, the year that I got this banner at the carnival, had a little beverages with Mr. Upshaw and Lupul. They could definitely pound some. I tell you that much. But is that really a big surprise for hockey players? No. But you're right, though, Matty. I mean, Lupul contributed on the score sheet. He was a damn good player who went back to Anaheim and then even took it up another notch. I think this team gave up on Joffrey Lupul a little too early.
Yeah, and then, I think Anaheim got a lot of good mileage out of him, and then he went to Toronto, and that was the end of his career there. Yeah, Toronto's the one who fucked up, really. I think we can all say that because they got him way past his prime. Let's see here. We got Time chiming in. Is hockey back yet? It will be tomorrow, Tom. I know. It's been a long wait. It's been a long wait. Let's hope the Flyers come off the break hot, boys. Yeah, we're hoping for it, too. And he says, pound that like and sub for these guys. Well, thank you, Tom. Yes, guys, hit the like and subscribe. Listen, guys, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias. We're out there, and that's where you can catch new episodes here on those, on those social media platforms. But also, we have YouTube, we have Twitch, we have other broadcasting areas as well. We also have podcasts available in audio form if maybe you need to put the headphones in if you're at work or what have you, and maybe you're working overnights and you want to listen to us or something like that. Hey, there's the option down the line there. We've got Spotify, Speaker, iHeartRadio. We got all that stuff for you too. So we're everywhere, guys. We're everywhere. All right. And let's see. Yeah, I started doing shots when Simmons steal the Flyers' money. Simmons wasn't terrible for the Flyers. Actually, we got the best years out of him. Because you really, if anyone should be drinking watching Simmons play, it would have been Nashville and New Jersey. Because he was terrible for them. I mean, Toronto, he's a fighter on Toronto. He's become a grinder at this point. And Toronto knows it. So... Oh, poor Simmons. Poor Simmons. Still love him, though. Still have a soft spot for him.
Wayne train. Choo-choo, motherfucker.
And Dylan saying, I hope Krebs sucks for Buffalo. All the place prospects Buffalo could have had flourish. Matt Coronado for Team USA led the forwards on ice time last game and had an assist. Smart 2021 first-round pick for Calgary. Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
Very, very good choice by them. So there's something to look forward to out in Flame World. Yeah, there you go, Don. That's what we're talking about. Become a member. Let's go. That's what we like to see. All right, so now it's time for our shootout segment. Rob, you had something for the shootouts. What did you have?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I did want to lead off. Normally we do biggest upset of the week. Well, we didn't have hockey over the last week. So kind of keying off the word upset. I did want to take this time to offer my sincere condolences to the McCammon family for the passing of Bob McSee, former head coach and GM of Philadelphia Flyers in the late 70s, early 80s. Definitely will be missed, as well as our own Mike Chromiak for the passing of his beloved mother. Sincere condolences for, we feel that loss in the whole A2D fam. Right with you there, Cromer.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll let you speak to that as well, Maddie.
Yeah, I had the privilege of meeting Mrs. Chromiak, and just beautiful, pleasant person to be around, and just a pleasant, beautiful family to be around too. And it's always a shame when you lose people like that, because they're, and I only met them once, but yet I just knew her. I was like, this is just a great family, great people, and it's just a shame to lose people like that, and but hopefully I hope that she's at peace, and hopefully she's just she's enjoying wherever she is right now. She's enjoying enjoying time after past life and everything, and hopefully as time goes along things will continue to pick up and everything like that. It's just it's tough when you lose people like that, really great people that you don't want to see lose, but it's sad when it does happen.
Well, our loss is certainly heaven's gain, and there's a new angel up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said on that. So, condolences, and yeah, it's a good thing to say that now, because that way we make sure everybody knows. But moving forward, shootout wise, I decided for this segment, I think we can do something fun here to finish off the show. To just do something
really quick, Maddie. Sorry,
sure.
Minute 24 left to go. Canadians up 4-3 over the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Really?
I believe they scored that before the 2-minute mark. Yep. Late goal there.
Wow.
I mean, talking about a 26-4 team possibly taking an L to a 7-21-3 team. That's what you got to love about hockey. Two other games on tap too. Golden Knights and Kings kick off at 10:30. Coyotes Sharks. Your Sharks, buddy. You can watch this right after we get off the air. See them beat up on the Coyotes at 10:30 as well.
Yeah, hopefully they can get a win. They lost to the Canucks before the break, 5-2, which I was like, really? The Canucks were down and out, and you didn't kick them in the nuts? You got to do that, man. Just like the Flyers, they needed to kick Montreal in the nuts. They didn't fucking do that either. But at least they kicked Ottawa in the nuts. So at least they got somebody with the punt. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
So, all right. As I pull it up here, I figured do something. As I pull up this one here, I figured since we didn't get our 50th game between the Flyers and the Capitals, I figured, you know what? Let's go into the Flyers archives and let's take a look at the very first ever game between both of those storied franchises in history. For the first time ever, the Flyers meeting the Capitals. The Capitals came into the league in the 70s, and the Flyers by that point were actually a pretty dangerous team, because this was during the era where the bullies were actually running wild. So I decided, let's do it. Let's have some fun. Let's take a look and see what happened the very first time the Flyers met the Capitals. And this was November 9th, 1974. So to give everybody context, I was not alive. Rob, I don't think you were.
Nope, not last time I checked.
So there you go. This was before all of our times here on the Hockey Happy Hour. So yeah, we're going that far back, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, 1974, November 9th, regular season matchup. This was in the Spectrum. So, first period opens up, and we wind up getting a bunch of penalties right off the bat. What a shock. It was at 104. Bob Kelly got called for elbowing, and Don Selesky got called for high sticking. What a shock. And then finally at 5:06, Washington's Gordon Smith got called for tripping. Then at 5:43, the first goal got scored. It was actually by Washington, ironically enough. So that's kind of funny that Washington actually got the first ever goal between the two teams. And it was Bill Mickelson who got the first ever goal between these two teams. So if you're ever having fuck the Caps, if you're ever having a trivia night and you want to come up with a funny, like crazy question, there's one for you. So keep that in mind. Bill Mickelson got the first ever goal between the Flyers and Washington, and he got it with an assist from. Who did he get the assist from? He got the assist from Greg Jolly. Yes, that was his name, Greg Jolly. Boy, I wish he was playing today. That would be an awesome. That's an awesome name for hockey. And he also got the assist as well from Denis Dupre. And I'm going to assume that it's French because it's spelled that way. It was on the power play. So it's 1-0 Washington in the first period. However, Anthony's saying Yager scored in that game. No, Yager's not that old. And then, let's see, 8:05, Andre Moose-Dupont got called for tripping. However, though, doesn't really matter because the Flyers actually scored on a power play. So this was actually a coincidental minor, it looks like, because at 8:22, Rick McLeish scored. And it was with Bobby Clark and Tom Bladden, the bomber, getting the assists, which, I mean, Rick McLeish scoring. Wow, that's a shocker right there.
Right.
And then at 12:02, hey, Bill Clement, he got called for fighting, and he wound up getting into a fight with someone. They don't actually have them listed. Oh, well. And then at 14:12, Michael Marson got called for fighting for Washington. I'm assuming that's who Bill Clement got called for fighting with. Then Yvon Labrie got called for holding at 14:12 for Washington. And then the Flyers were given a bench minor for too many men on the ice at 16:06. Oh, okay, at 16:06. So even back then, the Flyers had too many men on the ice. God damn. More things change, the more they stay the same. I swear to you. The Flyers probably have to have the most calls for too many men on the ice in NHL history. I swear. And
the most amount of goaltenders started between the pipes in organizational history.
So let's see here. Opening up to the second period, it's tied at 1 apiece between both teams. At 1:06, the penalties get rolling once again. Gordon Smith got called for elbowing. Then at 5:08, Dave Schultz got called for slashing and a game misconduct on top of that. Oh, wow. Yeah, sure. Good old Hammer. 5:43, Pete Laframboise got called for tripping, which is a great name.
Pronunciation.
Thank you. And then we're not done with the penalties. At 6:45, Michel Belhumeur got called for cross-checking. By the way, fun fact, Michel Belhumeur was a former Flyer. He played in goal for the Flyers for a very brief period of time before Washington picked him up in an expansion draft. So then at 7:53, we finally get a goal, and it is Bobby Clark, the greatest Flyer to ever flyer, got his third goal of the season, and it was Tom Bladden. Wow, Bladden got on 2 assists here on the night, and Bill Barber getting the assist there at even strength at 7:53. Then at 9:29, Russ Lonsberry gets called for tripping, followed then by a goal scored at 10:41. Oris Kindrachuk gets a goal, and it's his third. He gets it unassisted, actually. And then Washington got called for tripping on a breakaway. I see. It was a penalty shot. That makes sense. So at 10:41, Dave Kraskow got called for tripping on Oris Kindrachuk, and it was a penalty shot, and Oris Kindrachuk scored on the penalty shot. So there you go. That would have been interesting to see. See Oris Kindrachuk do a dangle and score. I don't know if he would have done that, but, you know. I don't even think the dangle was a thing back then. But let's see here. Then at 11:10, Bill Barber gets a goal shorthanded Sixth goal of the year, Bobby Clark on the assist, and then Bob the Hound Kelly got called at 15 minutes for elbowing. So Bob Kelly wound up seeing the box twice for the exact same penalty in 2 straight periods. So starting off 1-1, by the end of the second period, after a ton of penalties, the Flyers are now leading the game 4-1. So it's amazing what could happen in 20 minutes of hockey. Hey, as he's saying, Hexy would fit that Flyers team. Yeah. Yes, he would. He would absolutely have fit the Bullies. Third period. Yeah. Then in the third period at 1:16, Greg Jolly getting called for tripping. And that would lead to a power play goal at 2:22. Russ Lonsbury got his 4th goal. And it was Rick McLeish and Terry Crisp getting the assists. Good old Terry Crisp, who would go on to actually coach the Calgary Flames to a Stanley Cup way later on in the 80s. So there you go. And let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. No, he didn't. He was a commentator at the time. My bad. He was a color commentator. So he coached the Lightning in the early days. On to the next penalty that was taken here. And, next goal. 4:42. Washington gets a goal here. They finally get another goal on the board, and it is Bob Gripe who gets the goal. And it was with an assist from, let's see here, it was an assist from Bill Lessick and Mike Bloom who got the assists. And that would give the Capitals a second goal of the night, although now it's like 5-2, so they're pretty much, well, this game's pretty much a blowout at this point, as the Flyers blew it open in the second period. Finally, we do get back to the penalty box. Don't worry, the penalty box is all cold and lonely. They remedied that situation very fast. At 5:39, Lou Morrison of the Capitals gets called for tripping. And then at 5:46, the final goal gets scored for the game. It is the Bomber, Tom Bladden, getting his 4th goal of the year. Bill Barber and Norris Kindrachuk getting the assists on the power play due to that tripping call. And Teddy Bladden had himself one hell of a game. He had 2 assists and he had a goal on the night. So it's like, geez. See, we do forget about Tom Bladden, how great he was. You know, he was an amazing offensive defenseman. Really amazing. And let's see here. Penalties continue, though. 9:25, Ted Harris gets called for elbowing on the Flyers. Then Andre Dupont Moose gets called for slashing at 10:33. Ed Van Impe got called for hooking at 13:44. And he actually got a double minor. He got called for 2 hookings at 13:44. And that ultimately finished out the game. Michel Belhumeur in goal for Washington takes the L. He made 39 saves on 45 shots. And Wayne Stevenson was in net for the Flyers. He made 25 saves on 27 shots. So it was not Bernie Perron who was in goal in this particular night. It was the backup who was in goal that night. So there you go. So that was that. That was the first ever meeting between the Flyers and the Caps. It was in front of 17,000. It was in front of I think they wrote that wrong. No, they wrote it right. 17,007 fans that were in the Spectrum that night to watch the Flyers take on the Capitals for the very first time. And it was a 6-2 blowout for the favor of the Bullies.
You know, as much as I like the Well, man, I do miss the Spectrum. I definitely do miss the Spectrum.
Yeah, so little trip down memory lane for everybody. Since we didn't get our 50th game between the Capitals and the Flyers, that was their first ever game between those two teams, as the Capitals made their debut in the league and proceeded to have the single worst record in the history of the NHL that still stands today. Didn't even get to double-digit wins on I believe it was a 70-game season at that time. Yeah, that was an interesting time period to be a Caps fan, if you were a Caps fan. I don't know if there were many at that point. But anyway, little trip down memory lane to finish it out. And a few people saying that Anthony St. Bladden still having a better game back then than Giroux, although he did write Gladden instead of Bladden. But, we know what
he's talking about, for sure. For sure. Before we head on out, Maddie, I had some other thing. I could save that for next week. That's not a big deal. But as promised to Don earlier in the show, I just want to give a hot take of the week real quick before we head out.
Sure, go right ahead.
My hot take is the Boston Bruins, that's more of the hot take, and the New York Islanders will miss the playoffs while Detroit will make the playoffs this season. You're welcome, Don Don.
Interesting.
Or maybe you're not. I might have jinxed them.
Well, if they don't, we'll mark this down. Put this in a mental thumbtack to the wall there, Don Don. If the Red Wings miss, you can reference this back there. It's like, screw you, Rob, for jinxing.
Bruins will be golfing early. Maybe Marchand will go off to the Olympics, and the Detroit Red Wings will be the second wild card.
That will be, wow. Be the first time the Red Wings have been in the playoffs in quite some time. I think it was 2014 or 2015, I think was the last time they were in. So it's been a while. Chris is already ahead of it. F you.
Love you too, buddy.
All right, guys. Well, we thank you for joining us for another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour, wrapping up our third period here. And the sponsor is FanUp. For all those out there who like to be a gambling degenerate out there, and you know who you are, don't be afraid to throw your hand up and admit it. It's okay. It's okay. Take pride. FanUp, the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests. Although we are getting to the end of the season, that means that it's getting real intense when you make those kind of contests. Although, Rob, have you ever thrown money on like a really just bullshit game that no one ever really pays attention to on Sunday at this point in the season? Because both teams are pretty much well out of it.
Every week. The best line sometimes.
Yeah, so definitely at a daily NFL contests and more, you can win great prizes. And if you sign up today and you use the A2D promo code, you get 5,000 bonus points, a $50 value. All you got to do is go to fanup.app, get that. And before you know it, like we said, that's a good way for you to be making some cash on the side. You can take those Money Pot podcast and Willie Vegas picks. You can throw out those chances. Next thing you know, you're making yourself some money. And that's our third period sponsored, and the shootout as well, brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Listen, man, Dr. Paul Vidal, he did an amazing job with his staff over there on Brian's shoulder. He says it every week, and he's not lying. This is a great group of people out there. And you can find them on the web at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And you can visit them either in Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey. And listen, man, great crew over there. They do a great job getting everybody taken care of. Definitely worth going there. If you got some aches and pains and it's really bothering you and it's getting to the point where it's becoming a detriment to either your work or just to your life, check them out. Check them out. You won't regret it. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Take a look. All right, then. And our final sponsor, of course, our show sponsor, Body Check Wellness. If you need something that needs to get done and, you know, maybe you're getting a little lackadaisical, maybe you're procrastinating a little bit. I know I'm guilty of that. I'm a major league procrastinator. But I will say this, though. If you need to kind of get focused and get locked in, these are the kind of things that help you with that. These are a line of products that use hemp, but they also use THC-free products. They got edibles, gummies, ointments. These are the kind of things that help you with, you know, taking care of a project around the house that you've been needing to get to for a little while, and you haven't had the time, or you've been kind of lackadaisical on your days off and not doing it. This is a great way to kind of get you reared up and ready to go for it. If you want to diet and you want to try and help stay on it, that's another good way those products can do. Also, if you're working out and you want to use that for your routine and really help you get in shape and get those muscles back, or, you know, get yourself nice and toned, you know, like these are the kind of things that this product will help you do. It'll help improve you basically at the end of the day. So check it out, bodycheckwellness.com. A2D code, 25% off your order. They'll definitely help you out as you move forward. So we thank you all for joining us on another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. Next week, let me just check here on my calendar. So I have everything put in. Let's see here. Oh boy. Guess who the Flyers are taking on next Tuesday, Rob?
Pittsburgh?
No. It's a team we know
Devils?
very. No, it's a team we know very well, though.
Lay it
One
on
more-
me. One more guess?
One more guess.
New York Rangers.
No, it is not a rival team. It is the Ducks.
Oh, nice.
And that
We're
is
gonna be drawn.
Oh, yeah, that's next Tuesday, folks. So January 4th, mark it down. The Flyers and the Duckies, they face off with each other, I'm assuming at 10 o'clock, because it will be Flyers versus the Ducks. So it'll be at Flyers at Anaheim. So that's next week, guys. So put it down in your calendar. Big game coming up for the Hockey Happy Hour. And big game for both teams, because you always need to get those 2 points. So check it out next week. We'll see you then, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy out there, and hopefully you all had a Merry Christmas and you have a very happy New Year, and hopefully all your New Year's resolutions will come true. We'll see you guys next week right here on the Hockey Happy Hour on HUGRadio.com. Peace and love, everyone.